name is Will Reynolds, and what I'm going to have is our long exposure demo. And let's just talk a bit about our shutter speed. So we have to talk about basic image of how our shutter is going to work. We have our light that can come in from any direction, goes to our camera. Basically, different from iPhone cameras. iPhone cameras, you just click, done, end the deal. We have more of a normal camera that when you grab it, obviously if you look, you zoom, fix, but when you click it to open it, you have this little panel, just like I have in my presentation, that will just open and close. Shutter off, shutter on. And when the shutter's on, it allows the light to go through your detector, thus creating your image you want. And there's a lot that we could do with it. So basically we have our shutter speed mainly, we're near like 1,000th of a second. That's I probably as quick as this or even faster, honestly. But with that, you can capture like slow-mo shots in the moment, like the balloon popping with the dart, like even with our normal eye, it's just boom, gone. When we get to the middle end, you can kind of see some people running. There's some motion blur due to, they're running different speeds. The camera can only capture so much from how fast they're going. And then when we go to more of the long exposure, like half a second, but honestly like 8 seconds, to be honest, is long exposure. So we have in the image, most likely a car or a bus zooming by, but the light trails were left behind. And it's a fun little exploit you can play with. But a better representation is this slide here of a fan spinning. Like, I can be rotating this real quick, but I could slow down and you can see it better. But the camera follows different rules. So for 1/8, it just sees this blur. If it was 1/15th, maybe it sees myself spinning this a little slower. 1/20th, 125, maybe 125. Maybe I'm holding it here is 1/500th. You can see the fan. And then it gets sharper and sharper and sharper. In that case, you would need more and more light to represent your image. So a fun example I like is this helicopter here. And basically what you're going to see is when your shutter speed of your camera is matching the rotation of this. So if I was spinning it and that camera was matching the rotations of my spinning lanyard here, you could see just probably the lanyard at the same spot, because one rotation, say 1 second, 1 second again, but you can only look at it every 1 second, so it'd be one, you'll see that. So right here, you slowly rotate, but basically not sweating. Once it gets out of frame, it's a little bit quicker. So that's when you have a high, if you got a quick, snap, 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 you can get your shutter. And now we get to more on the long exposure stuff, which is personally my favorite. We can just talk about the first image, honestly. I'm going to walk over here. Basically, the first image you'll kind of see is, you see a bunch of people moving, movement. There's some people standing still. Anyone who's moving along exposure is going to look blurred. I'm just shaking my hand right now. My hand's blurred, right? Even the camera has issues capturing that. But when I'm standing still, you can see me clearly. My right hand, really blurred. You can't have issues seeing it. My left hand, not moving. Perfectly fine. And then when we move a little bit more over here, you are utilizing, you want that blur. You see these cameras zooming by their lights. You don't even see the car. Just like the people. They're there, but not there. But here, you can barely see the cars from the low lighting. You just see the lights. You just see the little back trail. We will look back at where long exposure gets a little fun. A little demo I have is basically a glow stick demo. And, you can use 1 to 3 glow sticks. Depending, obviously, you'll need 1 string, 1 tape for glow stick, or I have an exception here of a lanyard and one of the glow sticks with the little hook. Basically, what we're going to do, if I can break our friend here. There we go. Oh, this shows up really well. Right there. Basically, when you have the lights off, My glow stick. Oh wow, look, glow stick. When you spin, oh, this is perfect. So that camera has a certain shutter speed right now, recording this part. Right now, if I'm looking at this, I can kind of see the whole halo, but the camera, if I spin this, if I can spin this quick enough, the camera might have issues adjusting. So it's just probably adjusted properly. But for a moment earlier, you could see it spacing out. So it's a limit of like a shutter speed. Yeah, right here. This camera is following a different rule set right here. So every certain, I don't know what the shutter speed is, but every certain amount of seconds, it's capturing it. On, off, on, off. I can see this perfectly fine right here. So with your eye, it's a good thing you can do, if you can have another camera right here, if you had, say, the eye's about 1/50th of a second. It's a little hard because our eye's depicting, mixing the rest, just like that camera. It's adding like the rest. So basically, what you could do is mix your color with your desired, mix here. You put on a string, do that, you have a camera, take a picture at 1/50 of a second, which should represent your eye. You can't really see it with your own eye because, like I said, you have the blur, right? You're seeing the blur, and your eye's like, oh, new image, but the blur's there. When I do a long exposure, basically, an example I have to show is when I have it with 3 colors, but I only have 1. So usually you would see, the spinning. So this whole halo here should be full if I'm spinning it quick enough, kind of. But long exposure, it's going to capture everything. Like if I go slow, if it's long exposure, it will capture everything. Even if I make an error here, honestly, a figure 8, it would show up like a figure 8. When you mix it, we dab a little in color mixing. You'll kind of see the green with the green with the orange with the purple, all slightly mixing together, and that part makes white. With that, talk about the light bar, which is this handy thing. And basically, what I'm about to show you horizontally, here we go. Oh, maybe I can do it vertically. Now I'll do it like this. If I push my button here, I have a specific image here of a magic little double triangle. So basically what I created, I referenced this image. And I'll do this again. So if you can kind of see the peak, and as I go down, there was a peak right around here. There was a peak right around here. Literally what you would see with your normal eye is just me doing this, and the image you would get would be this. You'd see a little shakiness, and you're like, what? There's so much change happening. How this works, I have this light bar, it's 200 pixels. You would see the image I referenced was the 2 triangles, but I have little slices of 1 pixel. And you just keep taking these slices. And that's what this is doing. It's just like, in this very moment, right here, matched one of those splices in that moment of time. So if I kept doing a shutter of maybe 1/1000th, I would only maybe even get one of those lines. And that's it. If I did maybe a second, I probably would get half of the image. If I did maybe 3 seconds, I'll get the whole thing together. If we can understand this rule set of these little splices, you can depict what might show up. The first demo I have, which I'll give a little hint, I guess, is our school, not U of A, but more of the optics side. I almost said it. But what I have here is one of our logos. I'm going to do it one more time. It's a little difficult because I'm supposed to be going long ways, but I'm going from up to down. So if you can see what I just did there, I referenced this image. You can see the little blank air spaces was the lettering, what I just had. It created this image. You can kind of see it, since there's a lot of lighter colors, they kind of come out differently to the camera, just based on how the pixels are, you can't really make a pastel LED if you've never seen one. I would like one, but beggars can't be choosers. I have a little more of the school, so I want to do my current school I'm at, and depending on where I'm at, I might change it up. Hopefully, most people seeing this right off the bat, you should know what this is. We'll do it one more time because that is our home U of A logo right there. You can kind of see the red is that inner A, the blue is our outline, and the white's in between. And then Rich created our image here. I did have a little warping, Can't be, if I did this, you might have a weird distortion effect. But that is basically what I've had with the long exposure. And I think a little bonus is this hexagon here, based off this camera. If I move it fast enough from the change, you can see the whole hexagon. Even I can possibly see that. Let me turn back on the lights. And basically, that is what happens when we do our two different demos. Of our glow stick and of our light bar. Thank you.